I am so tired of you acting like you speak for the people of the state of Indiana or the city of Indianapolis. You do not speak for me or anyone I know. Now listen, you two jerks. Jerks on the right.
Good morning, everybody. Hello, and happy Monday to everybody. And thank you to my co-host for the week, Chad Benson. Thank you very much for being here.
Good morning, everybody, an hour ahead.
Hope everybody's not struggling too hard with the time change because Chad is on the struggle bus. I'm a little bit on the struggle bus. I'm doing okay. You know what I think helped this time around is that we don't have any manually needing to adjust clocks anymore. Everything in the house is digital. And so there wasn't that whole process that you had to go through of like changing the clocks. Everything just sort of changed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that is a pain in the butt. Like all of our cuckoo clocks here. I was going to spend, we got like 500 of them. I'm just kidding.
Oh my God.
Clocks.
Okay, I was going to say that.
But, I traveled and traveling, going back and forth with the hours. I don't even know what day it is.
Yeah, it's hard. And I know springing forward is the hardest. And I would hope that at some point somebody in Congress is going to do something about that. And then we'll see if Trump signs off on it. Because as you know, we played a clip last week, 50-50 issue for him. So he does not feel strongly about it either way. So we just are all going to be on the struggle bus together, but we have a huge show for everybody. We're going to be talking about the JD Vance memes that are sweeping social media, that are so funny. We're going to be talking about all these ridiculous loser lefties who keep trying to attack Musk through Teslas. People are so freaking dumb. We're going to talk about the fact that Canada has itself a new prime minister, sort of, because elections in Canada are super whack, and we'll be talking about that as well. And we do want to remind everybody that if you have not subscribed to this podcast, you should. You should just click the little subscribe button, as Daisy always says, and make sure you're subscribed. If you can't watch us live, that's cool. You can listen to us later. You can watch us later. We're on all the channels, but make sure that you subscribe to us on Apple Podcast platform or wherever you get your podcasts, and leave a comment and say how much you like the show. That's always helpful too. Also, if folks, probably a lot of folks who are in our audience right now already know this, but if you are a follower of Daisy's outside of the show, then you probably heard the very sad news that Astrid, Queen of the Flaps, passed away this weekend. Oh. So we're very, very sorry about sweet Astrid and her giant lab butt. She was just a really good girl. And so really just miss her already. And I know you guys are all going to be thinking and praying for Amy Jo and the rest of her family, who are obviously very, very upset. This was a natural passing. This was, Astrid was behaving just fine. Saturday, all day Saturday, she was eating and doing and playing all the things. And then at around 3:00 in the morning, she showed signs of a bit of a struggle. And then by 8 in the morning, she was gone. And Daisy was with her the whole time and telling her what a good girl she was. And so she just left this world on her own terms. And that's a good thing.
That's a good way to go.
It's a good way to go. But it is awfully sad because Astrid was Queen of the Flaps post Cash, who was King of the Flaps. So now we're just going to have to work on Coda and Theo and hope that they can learn from the best of them and start doing some flaps for us when she gets back on Monday. So all of that sucks. And it's just not fair how short of a life dogs have. You know what I mean? It's just not fair. It's not fair. So we're going to get to all the things and all the stuff, and we're going to kick it off with the JD Vance memes, which if you have not seen a lot of these, I mean, I keep seeing them. You described a couple more to me in pre-show that I haven't even seen yet, but we do have several to share. But before we do that, I wanted to make sure to remind everybody that if you are not a prepper, that's okay, but there are some basics that you should be prepared to have on hand in the case of an emergency. And one of those basics is food. You should have an emergency food kit. And the best food ever comes from our friends at Readywise.com. They have these amazing, delicious soups, but they also have whole meal kits, some of which do not even require heat. You just add water, and then they have these self-heating mechanisms, and you have yourself a whole meal without any actual heat but they're hot meals. They're kind of amazing. And it's one good thing, in addition to obviously having water on hand, you want to have an emergency food kit for yourself and your family that lasts you at least a few days. But some people like to have, like 3-month supplies, even year supplies. If you're like super serious, they've got all of those things for you at readywise.com. When you use code CHICK10, you're going to get 10% off of your entire purchase. So prepare, because when times are good, it's great, but you got to be ready for when times are not so great, right?
Zombie apocalypse.
What's that?
Zombie apocalypse.
Right. You never know when that's coming. It could be you never know. All right. So let's get into some of these JD Vance memes, because you guys, they are so freaking funny. And some of the ones crack me up. The captions are my favorite thing. So this, of course, is Vance Halen. It's just so absolutely great. We're going to zip through a bunch of them here. So we've got Rachel Maddow. We have, let's see what else. I
love that one. That's Robert Redford.
It's so good. Some of these are just the best. This one I love because that girl with the crazy face, it kind of looks like him. Look at that. Richard Simmons. It's so good. Like, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure people are using AI to do it. I mean, look at how good that looks. The Andy Griffith one. Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh. So good. And then let's see the dude.
Some of them, he's got enough quality as far as his look that it looks like that could have been the dude.
It absolutely could have been the dude. You're absolutely right. We've got the Mel Gibson. They may take our memes, but they will never take our freedom. He pulls that off.
Yeah, he does. It's a good look.
He literally pulls that off. And of course, we've got
hilarious. Tom.
The MySpace guy. Tom. Yes, everybody's friend. Everybody's friend, Tom. That one's not quite as much of a good one. The Chris Pratt one, epic.
But it kind of looks a little Chris Pratty.
I know. That's why it works. I think it's the facial hair, right?
Yeah. I think facial hair works for everybody. Always gives you that little bit of an oomph.
Yep. Best I can do is more Vance memes. That's one where the caption is just everything. JD Wamps.
Oh, like Wham.
I could not get enough of these. Let's see, a few more. So you're telling me there's a Vance. So good. I think there's just a couple more. Oh yeah, I love that Harrison Butker actually sent this to JD Vance, of JD Vance as Harrison Butker. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. And then I think there was one more. The Vances with Wolves. This is also perfect movie poster.
I love it.
Love it. And then I think I just have a couple more, or maybe this is the last one. So JD Vance obviously is participating in this, right? He loves it. And so he posted his very own of him as Leonardo DiCaprio. And the craziest thing about this whole meme extravaganza is that there's this idiotic writer for The Atlantic who has decided that these memes are an insult to JD Vance and that it is us on the right who are, quote, trolling one of our own. And she's all outraged on his behalf. I don't get that. Why is that? Of course, it's fun. Man, it's fun. We're having a good. You're not saying anything bad, like primarying somebody. That's when you're going after somebody. Putting up a hilarious meme as him dressed up as Leonardo DiCaprio, as he has done. Right. Trolling, that's having a laugh with something. I can't believe that they're acting like this is so mean to JD Vance. It's the best thing ever. But that just goes to show you how humorless the left is, right? I mean, it's just ridiculous. This is all in good fun. JD Vance obviously is participating in it. There are so many more than even what we've shown you here. If you're on social media at all, you've probably seen them. Yes. Beach Suji said there's a lot of fat face memes of him too. Yeah. Him hilarious. At the Sphere in Vegas. I haven't seen that. I have to see it. It is so awesome. Oh my gosh. Anyway, it's just a great trend, and literally everybody with a sense of humor is participating, and it's all in good fun, and the Atlantic can suck it. Atlantic.
Not the
And you know who?
just the Atlantic.
That's right. Right. The Atlantic journalism article. They like to think of themselves as journalism, which is cute. You probably know of the Columbia protests. There's a lot of these campus protests still going on. Absolutely ridiculous. And John Fetterman, this is one of the issues that he is usually right about when it comes to being on the common sense side of things. He actually believes that the Columbia protesters are out of control, which they are. Trump has just yanked $400 million from Columbia because they cannot keep their Jewish students safe. And Fetterman tweeted, Columbia let anti-Semitism run amok to cater to lunatic fringe and paid provocateurs. Leadership allowed these assholes to take over the campus and terrorize Jewish students. And now Columbia pays for its failure. And I support that.
100%. They arrested and it looks like they're going to deport and strip the green card of a guy who led some of these protests. It's not about the protest being pro something or get something. It was the anti-Semitism run amok. The fact that these kids weren't kept safe. They felt, any microaggression. You misgendered somebody thought that you said something that was, I don't know, targeting them and their hairstyle or whatever. You were brought up on charges and flogged and tossed out of school, yet you can run around basically with a swastika saying, we're going to get you Jews. And the next thing you know, they're like, well, we don't want to offend anybody because they're for Palestine.
Right. Oh my gosh, the double standard, out of control. And to your point, it was recently graduated Columbia student Mahmoud Khalil's lawyer who confirmed that he was detained, and he was told that not only is his student visa being revoked, but his actual whole ass green card is being revoked. And that is, this is exactly what Marco Rubio was talking about, right? Like we're not tolerating this anymore. They've gone too far. They keep crossing the line, and they are not welcome here. If they're going to be actively shouting essentially for the death of America, death to Jews, death to Israel, death to America, then get out. And they're making it happen. And I love it. If
you want to go on the streets and yell all that stuff on in not on a private campus or something like that, knock yourself out. That's the beauty of our country. Free speech is all of those things. But if you flip it and you put LGBTQ plus IA, blah, 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 blah. If you put blacks or Hispanics or women or any of that stuff, you would be tossed out so fast of every campus. You'd be escorted fast. You would be blackballed in life, according to them. But this, absolutely, it's okay. Because Palestine is a great fashion accessory for people who always need something to bitch about.
That's exactly right. That's the perfect way to put it. Moving on, Donald Trump Jr. has a way with words, and he was recently asked to make a statement about whether or not he plans to run for president in 2028 to Mediaite. And here is what he responded, and I quote, I accurately predicted that my buddy JD would be an instant power player in national GOP politics. So your theory is that I worked my ass off to help him get the VP nomination because I want to run for president in 2028? Are you effing retarded? I'm actually glad you're printing this bullshit, though, because at least now the rest of the press corps will see how shitty your sources are and how easily you're played by them. Congrats, moron.
Ooh. He said the R word.
He did. He said all the words.
He said all the words, right? That is do you have to wonder, okay, I'm going to ask this question. In my mind, it sounded way better than when it came out. And it was obvious that was not a good question.
The thing is that JD, or I'm sorry, Trump Jr., he is not one to mince words.
No.
So this is such a ridiculous question. And when you do think it through like that, when you think about how much he threw his support behind JD, obviously knowing that that would put JD on a path, right, that he's not going to compete with him on. And so if you are a person who had, I guess, hoped for Don Trump Jr. to run, I think you can just put that idea right out of your head.
Media wants him to run because they can keep the narrative of, it's just, this is it. It's part of the oligarchy. This is part of the new monarch, that it's just he's going to turn it over to his family. And they want that.
Yeah, you're right.
They need the Trump name. Right now, Elon is doing a good job of taking the slings and arrows and being that other person. Remember, they ran it at the flagpole with DeSantis, but he's so freaking boring that nobody ever got a reaction out of him. I mean, come on, he's a little on the
Why would
spectrum.
you say that about Governor Ron DeSantis?
Because he just wasn't what they want. They want somebody they can battle against.
Right.
And Don Jr. will give him that. JD will give him that to a certain point, but he's still very analytical, and they
He's
need
wonky.
that foil. Yeah, he is very wonky, very, very, very political.
That's true. That's true. Now, when Daisy's on the show, usually if there's like a long tweet or like something that I just don't want to read, I will make her read it. Can I do that with you?
Absolutely.
Okay, because I don't know if you've seen this, but it is the funniest thing I read all weekend long. There is this spa in San Francisco called Archimedes Banya or something like that. Some, real frou-frou spa. And they are tangled up into a knot that they did not want to be in. They're in a pretzel. They've put themselves in a pretzel because they are very much into trans rights and trans this and trans that. And now they're getting pushback because there are women that go to their spa who don't like being around dudes.
Yeah. Well, sometimes their penis is getting in the way of their vagina, which is weird.
Right. It does get in the way. So they have now issued a statement to their clientele because they have a couple of different events that they want to bring to everyone's attention. And I want you to read this because it is just so priceless watching them be in this pretzel. Here it is. Can you read it?
All right, here we go. Dear, is it Banya? Patrons.
I guess. Yeah.
It's been a long and difficult night filled with reflection on how to best navigate the conversation unfolding around us. We are listening. We are reading the comments, some of them filled with thoughtful perspectives, others with painful accusations, and we want to take a moment to clarify our intentions. We have seen messages claiming the cis women don't deserve a space, that asking for a phallus-free environment inherently hateful, and that the separation is an act of exclusion. That's categorically not true. The request for a phallic-free space is not about exclusion. It's about recognizing that some of the members of our community experience a different reaction than part of the human body, whether that reaction is based on personal history, trauma, cultural or religious beliefs, or simply comfort. It is valid. It should not be controversial to hold a space for both needs. We are planning to arrange monthly, a night that welcomes all women, regardless of gender identity, a night that provides a healing, comfortable space for those who need a female-only, phallus-free environment. Some have framed this as an issue of hate and marginalization, but intention matters. Our intention has never been and never will be to push trans women away. Archimedes Banya has always been and always will be a place where trans women, trans men, and other non-binary individuals are welcome every other day of the month.
So you either believe that trans women are women and should always be in the same space as women, or you don't. And now this spa is finding themselves caught in between both of those philosophies, right?
Yeah,
because these are pretzels that you cannot twist yourself out of. And my favorite thing about this whole hullabaloo is that the person that tweeted it that I saw it from used a word that I've never seen before, but that I'm going to use henceforth and forthwith. The way that they described people with phalluses is be-penist.
Be-penist.
And so they were talking about the spa and said they held a women's only night and so many be-penist people showed up that even the San Francisco wokes revolted, and now they're having alternating phallic and non-phallic days.
Wow.
My
God.
I cannot tell you how much I love that. I love it so much.
They eat their own.
It's so perfect. Yeah, that's right. They're eating their own, because how can they not? There's no other logical conclusion that you can go to.
I've always said this, ladies, if you want this stuff to end, it can't be guys fighting for you in women's locker rooms. It can't be guys fighting for you in women's sports. You need to stand up and you need to say, look, I can sympathize with that person, and I don't want that person to commit suicide or think that they don't exist, but I don't want the B penis having or whatever the hell it's called in my locker room. I just don't. I don't want it. It's got to be the women that stand up and say that, because it works much better than men doing it, right?
Yeah,
look,
you're absolutely right.
Sports all day, and that's fine, but it's so much more about this. And I tell everybody, it's not about the sports or the locker room. It's about that this group wants you, through their cultural Marxism, to conform and to take away any true belief in reality. And you can bend their minds by saying, no, that is a woman. Disregard your eyes, disregard nature. That's a woman. It's about control.
Mm. You're right. And thankfully, I feel like more and more women are standing up. I mean, obviously Riley Gaines is the most prominent, but there are so many women that are saying enough is enough, even in San Francisco, and even those who attend this crazy spa. The whole reason that letter came out is because some women finally stood up and said, this is crazy. And clearly the spa is still crazy. The fact that they're having like all women days, but then also not like phallus free women days. I mean, they know that trans women are not women. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't be afraid to say it.
That's it. They recognize that.
It's just, everything is so freaking dumb. And it's so dumb the way that people are now trying to hurt Elon Musk. People are so irrational when it comes to their hatred for Elon Musk. And we're going to talk about what's happening with Teslas in just a second. But first of all, I wanted to talk a little bit to our audience about how Daisy and I have decided to switch our silver purchasing with another company. And we're super excited about it and wanted to share our new love for First Fidelity Reserve. And the reason that we switched is because they partner with AMAC, who we have long been partners with and who we adore. And the, what is it? It's a numismatic. I learned this word for the very first time last week, that someone who consults about precious metals is a numismatic consultant. Have you ever heard that word before?
Yeah,
I didn't know that. I'd never heard that. So I learned that. But their First Fidelity's numismatic consultant is a guy that has won like a zillion awards in the industry. And he has partnered, he's a Texas guy. He has partnered with Ken Paxton on helping to prevent particularly old, vulnerable people from scams when it comes to, buying precious metals, because there's a lot of scam artists out there who will sell you crap made in China that's like not even real. And so a lot of people get scammed by it. And he's very, very much interested in making sure that people are getting the bang for their buck. They're getting good value on the precious metals that they get. And right now, so this is the coolest thing. I got my very first silver eagle. Let me show it. I want to make sure I'm holding it up right. See the silver eagle coin. And this is this is like such an easy thing to gift like grandkids, for example, because this is something that that is just going to increase with value over time. In fact, some people are saying, I read this online today, that some people are saying that silver, the value of silver is going to hit $50 per ounce this year. And it could be as high as $75 by the year 2028. So silver is a big thing right now. I've also gotten this just 1 ounce silver bar. So this is the cool stuff. You can get one of the silver eagle coins for just $35 right now with free shipping. So great gift idea. Again, it's 0.999 fine American silver eagle coin, $35 with free shipping included. All you have to do is call 800-336-1630 and just tell them the chick sent you. 800-336-1630 and just say the chicks sent me, and you'll get that American silver eagle coin. I'm super stoked about this company because the guy really knows his stuff. And I like that he cares so much about people not getting scammed. This is a AAA rated company with the BBB, and we're just real excited to partner with them.
You should get chicks coins.
Oh, I wonder if that's a thing. I wonder if he would make them. He's a numismatic person.
Numismatic, yes.
All right, let's talk about Elon, because the stuff that's going on right now, you may have seen some of the videos. It's ridiculous. Like, people are driving cars into the glass windows of Tesla dealerships, just trying to commit as much destruction as they can.
It's all
You're
emotion,
about, oh
all
my
emotion.
God.
Nobody's doing anything. You know, I mean, you would think this guy came over, stole your wife, had a baby with him, because that's what he does. And you're right, took all of your information. On top of that, opened up as many credit cards and Netflix accounts as he could, right? Because that was one person's like, well, he took my husband's Netflix account. You're like, oh my God, you people are insane. It's all based on emotion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everything on the left is feelings over facts. Absolutely. And so here's just a quick example that you're going to see on your screen of somebody just chasing like one of the cyber trucks, right? Just because it's a cyber truck.
Now,
like,
does he think Elon's in there?
I don't know. They're crazy. These people are crazy.
Because you're going to F around and find out one day when you go to punch a Cybertruck and you find out the Cybertruck punches you. Elon's probably working on that. Like, how can I get it to punch people?
That would be, that's an upgrade. That's an upgraded feature on the Cybertrucks. But there's people online also encouraging you, if you have a Tesla, to sell it. And they're not just saying, you know what, if you want to help like support our cause, maybe you should think about selling your Tesla. No, they're being very threatening about it. Look at this.
To sell your Tesla. I'm not going to warn you again. Okay? Those of us in the resistance are not going to stand for these hate mobiles driving around, providing free advertising for the man who has subverted our democracy and spread disinformation and hate speech and supported the fascist takeover of our government, and who has taken the food from the mouths of millions of people around the world by destroying USAID and has betrayed Vladimir Zelensky. That is how serious this is. And you continue to pre-order these Teslas, you continue to drive and charge these cars that are making this man, Elon Musk, more and more powerful, infinitely powerful. That is not okay. It's not okay. We are sending the Tesla stock to zero. Zero, Elon. We're sending your company to zero. This time next year, Tesla might not even exist.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That is how serious we are about resisting this company and showing the world what it means to support Tesla. This is about good versus evil. These cars are not okay.
That guy was, first of all, a little OT. Secondly, I was driving around in my brother's Tesla this weekend. It's so awesome. He just bought a new one.
Really?
It's 125. He's 108 grand for it. He paid cash for it because he's a hockey coach. He does quite well for himself. But he's like, I am begging for somebody to do something for my Tesla because he's an old high. He's 6'2" and he loves to fight.
Oh my gosh.
I am begging somebody to do something. He goes, I'm going to break their jaw. And I was laughing. But the insanity of, we're going to send you to zero. Do you guys understand what zero is? Okay, do you? And he's like, yeah, I got a kid named Zero because I got kids named all kinds of numbers and weird stuff. But no, you don't understand. These are evil. Go get yourself a Volkswagen, all right? A company that was founded in kindness and by the actual Nazis. Remember when what's her name did that?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
One of those, I got rid of my Tesla because of fascism and I bought a new EV.
Alyssa Milano.
Yeah, I bought a new EV Volkswagen and everybody's like, you do realize the People's Car company there was started by the actual Nazis themselves.
But I mean, why let facts get in the way of your little car trade there?
What do you think's going to happen? I mean, honestly, well, he took away money from USAID. Okay, he took away money from USAID. You know, USAID has started so many coups. It's spectacular.
Well, this whole thing, I mean, and these are the people, like the guy that you just saw. These are the resistors that you have to worry about. I will tell you, I have never wanted an electric car ever. I have no interest until right now. Right now, I'm kind of feeling about a Tesla like I felt when we were first building this house and I decided I was going to get a gas stove, not because I even wanted one, because I've always had electric stoves and they were fine. But like I wanted one only because Biden said he didn't want us to have gas stoves anymore. And then I was just like, I want one out of pure spite. And that is how I feel about Teslas right now. I want one out of pure spite.
I do that. Like when it comes to like protests, like the minute I could believe in your cause and then you cause me pain and traffic getting home from work to see my kids and family. I don't care if I believe in your cause. I will do everything to champion against you. And if I go somewhere and you glue yourself to something, I'm going to whoop your ass.
Oh, seriously. The gluing to things and the destruction of like priceless artwork. I can't.
Or at least
These people.
You know what? I was telling you thin the herd. Somebody glues themselves. You walk up, you shoot them. And then they say, next time, you guys will think twice about that. And you're like, I was going to go glue myself to something. But, climate change isn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
I do have to put our normal disclaimer out that we do not condone violence on this show.
No, God, no. God, no. Don't do that. Violence is bad.
Violence is
if somebody
bad.
punches your car.
Okay, so you saw the guy making sure that we all know that we should sell our Teslas. If you want to...
So it's just freaking yoked. He's like, I was at the gym earlier today. He's the kind of guy that goes, all women are women.
Right. He is the why are you gay meme personified.
Tell me you're gay without telling me you're gay. There you go.
But here you're about to learn who is behind a lot of these anti-Tesla protests or whatever. And it's a woman by the name of Valerie Costa. She's a far left activist. And she's the movement, if you will, is called the Tesla Takedown. Yeah. And this is what's spurring all of this vandalism across the country. And there was a guy that was interviewing Valerie Costa suggesting, that you get your inspiration essentially from Luigi Mangione. And so you're going to hear her in this interview basically saying, yeah, like totally. That's exactly right. Here she is.
Val, maybe we could start off with a little bit of, can you just actually tell us what Tesla Takedown is? Or
yeah.
It's not Takedown Tesla, it's Tesla Takedown.
Tesla Takedown. Yeah, there's a website called TeslaTakedown.com, which is a website you can go to, get some background on the campaign. And it essentially is a map where anybody in the world can put an action up for targeting Tesla. And so I've been involved in that campaign, and in particular, planning actions in the Seattle area targeting Tesla.
In Tesla Takedown, there's a spirit out there, which had already, as we saw with Luigi Mangione, there's a spirit which is very anti-corporate, very anti-billionaire, very anti-sort of elite. And Tesla Takedown is also tapping into some of that spirit as well.
Oh, for sure.
For sure. Like, totally.
Tesla Takedown.
Are you looking it up?
I am looking at the Tesla Takedown stuff right now. Yep.
Well, so
you can sell your Tesla, dump your stock.
Yeah. And so keep in mind that person, this Valerie,
all over you can do.
Yeah, that person that you just saw, Valerie Costa, she was previously part of Troublemakers Community and the Oil and Gas Action Network, which targeted fossil fuel companies to fight climate change. And now she's hitting at Tesla, which is like the first electric vehicle ever. You know what I mean? Like one of the first big ones that actually made a name for itself and arguably did more to combat climate change in the way that these freaks have demanded for so long than any other company. And so it's so stupid that she's attacking it now. It just makes no sense, but these people make no sense.
Man, there's all kinds of insanity you can do here on this site. This is they're crazy. They're
crazy. They're lunatic.
Yeah. Well, they think that stopping Musk will help save lives and democracy because, of course, yes, always. It's no one's coming to save us, not politicians, not the media. The stakes couldn't be higher. And it has all these places you can go and do. I don't know. You're going to go to dealerships and they've
and destroy them essentially.
Yeah. Today, they are going to be, if you're interested in watching stuff, they're going to be We Love Elon and Tesla Takedown in Stamford, Connecticut. They're going to be down there. I don't know what they're doing.
You don't know what they're doing. Like it doesn't say where they're going.
Well, I don't know what they do at these things. So they're showing up at a place where they sell them the dealership, but I don't know what they plan. They just usually march around. They always have some stupid song with a drum. We will overcome to Elon, dude. None of it ever rhymes and shit. Like you guys are all supposed to be on the left. You're supposed to be creative, and none of you can come up with anything.
That is one thing that they lack big time on the left is creativity, as we saw from the 24 senators that participated in the exact same speech read with their itty bitty handheld microphones.
It was so embarrassing.
Cringe.
How did nobody get a hold of anybody? Go, don't. We're gonna no, don't. I beg you, don't. This is gonna make people even in your party go, oh God. So just there's nobody ever in the room who goes, this might be a bad idea. Let's just stay away from it.
I guess not. Although how many Democrat senators are there? 47? Is that right?
48. No, 47. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Well,
so
no,
I mean,
yeah,
there was a good handful that there was a good handful then that didn't participate. And so I mean, God. I guess good for them. Speaking of crazy people, you probably heard last week that Trump is really, really pushing to eliminate the Department of Education. This is a big, big deal for him. He's been very clear about it. And no one is more upset than Randi Weingarten, who absolutely lost her shit on one of these talk shows. Behold.
Is why so many people are so mad about it, because they're just taking opportunity away from kids that don't have it. So kids of billionaires, they have it. They go to private schools. Everyone else, 90%, go to public schools. Don't take away their opportunity.
So let's stay on the facts.
Sorry,
no,
I'm really angry about this.
No, because this
I'm
is what
really
people
angry.
need to hear.
I taught kids in Clara Barton High School in Brooklyn, New York.
She mad.
She crazy mad. She big mad. You know what you should be big mad about? The fact that kids can't effing read. You know what you should be big mad about? The fact that where we spend more money, Detroit, like we spend all kinds of money, the Chicago, you should be big mad over the fact that they're not very smart. Why is that? Because you're more concerned about getting money and power. And if we got rid of the education department today, it doesn't matter. A vast majority, 90% of it is all done through the state. You just like power. You're not interested in anything other than that.
That's exactly right. And for her to be concerned about any and closing down the Department of Education does not equate closing down of public schools. And so she's fear mongering, which is of course what the Democrats do. But for her to suggest that she's upset about schools potentially being closed is really rich, considering that she pushed to keep them closed during COVID. So she can miss us with all the, oh, woe is me. Schools might be closed. Shut up, Randi Weingarten. You power hungry.
Did you see
crazy person?
What's his name? The Obama's old guy that ran everything. It was the mayor of Chicago for a while.
Oh, Emmanuel?
Yeah. Did you see what he said? I don't want to hear about bathrooms until you guys can fix the classrooms. Okay? Because the classrooms are a mess. Kids can't read, and you guys are more concerned about issues that don't matter when kids can't read and they can't do math. So tell me about bathrooms after you fix the classrooms.
Dang.
I know, right? Like, that's a Democrat. You're like, that guy wants to run for president. He has a chance because he's not an idiot.
Because he's not crazy. Yes.
Not crazy.
That is going to be the Democrat who will be the most fearsome, right, in the next election will be the most centrist Democrats for sure, which is why Gavin Newsom is trying so hard to move center. I mean, it's all a lie, obviously, but he wants to give the impression that he, works with anybody. He can have a conversation with Charlie Kirk and it goes great. And he's moving to the center and he agrees with him on trans women in sports. I mean, it's all such a orchestrated ploy. But Rahm Emanuel, I don't know. Maybe he's legit.
He's a quiet
maybe he
kind of
needs
guy where, like, if he wants to run for president and he talks about the middle class, looks at everybody on the progressive and says, we're not going to do this thing with the women in sports. We're not going to do this thing with the girls and the insanity. We're not going to do this thing with the wacky activists. No, we can't have a border that's wide open and crime is crime because, we don't need our toothpaste locked up. If he does that, he'd be hard to beat. But somewhere along the line, somebody gets a hold of him and goes, it's great. women who have wieners. That should be your number one strategy.
They're so bad at this right now. They're so bad at it.
It's embarrassing.
It is. It's absolutely embarrassing. We mentioned, USAID and how there's been all these cuts earlier and people are super big mad about it. Marco Rubio, just a couple hours ago this morning, tweeted out the greatest news. I'm going to have you read this. Go. Here it is.
After a 6-week review, we are officially canceling 83% of the programs at USAID. The 5,200 contracts that were now canceled spent tens of billions of dollars in ways that did not serve and in some cases even harmed the core national interests of the United States. In consultation with Congress, we intend for the remaining 18% of the programs we are keeping, approximately 1,000, to now be administered more effectively under the State Department. Thank you to DOGE and our hardworking staff who worked very long hours to achieve this overdue and historic reform.
Isn't that amazing?
Wow.
83%.
That's, you could probably do that with most of the stuff that we've got going on.
Yeah. Well, Lee Zeldin also is doing a bang up job at EPA. Like, he is identifying so much waste and absolute corrupt spending, and he's doing away with it. It's awesome. I mean, I saw this morning and I was like, this is what I voted for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is it right here.
We have a spending problem. We don't have a money problem. We always raise enough money, and they always talk about we need more revenues. First of all, you're a government. You don't have revenues. You don't even sell hats, for God's sakes. So it's like nobody gets anything from you. And secondly, the revenue problem is even if we gave you everything right up to where it needs to be, you'll find a way to spend it more. And once you have government programs who were never incentivized to save money, and instead we're incentivized to make sure they spend as much as possible and go over so they can ask for more, well, then it was always going to go to hell.
That's exactly right. And so this government, this administration is finally doing what could have and should have been done by Congresses since the beginning of time, right? And so a lot of the blame falls on Congress because, it's cool right now that Republican Congress people are all like, yay, Doge. But I mean, where have they been? You know what I mean?
They're the worst. Like Tim Burchett said, I would love it if it was just the Democrats, but it's not. He goes, somebody's niece is on a board somewhere. Somebody's wife sits on a board. They get a bunch of money. That money gets filtered back into their campaign. It was a giant slush fund of free money for everybody and to reward your cousins and your nieces and your nephews and your brother. And it was ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Speaking of ridiculous governments, Canada, man, I don't understand their elections at all. But we talked weeks ago. I mean, Justin Trudeau resigned effectively weeks ago, and now apparently that there was like a vote of some sort that takes place in Canada within the Liberal Party to replace Justin Trudeau with a new leader of the Liberal Party who is being called essentially at least interim prime minister.
Yeah.
And so there was a moment, I guess it was over the weekend when this was announced. His name is Mark Carney. And here is the announcement about Mark.
In first place, the next prime minister of Canada, Mark Carney, with 131,674 votes, resulting in 29,457 allocated points, representing 85.9% of the vote.
No. So the way it works in Canada is the Liberals are in charge and they vote for their prime minister and that goes through. But then once he steps down, there's not a situation where they have like a vice president who ends up taking over. It is, they have the vote for just the Liberals to, okay, who's going to be the guy or gal? So they make this guy the guy. Now he has to call for actual elections.
For the whole populace to vote in.
The whole population, yeah. So he's going to call for snap elections. And right now, the Liberals are going to stay in power.
Well, and so is it required by whatever their constitution is for Mark Carney to call an election, or could he theoretically just decide I'm not going to have one?
He can go, I think, out to wherever the next election was going to be. So like if Trudeau still had 2 years, I think he can go out there or he can call for him sooner. And right now the Liberals, when Trump came into office, a lot of people thought, the Pierre, whatever his name is, I always screw up his name. Poilievre. he had a lot of momentum. Trump came into office, and the way that he's acted has shifted all of the momentum back to the left.
I hate
and so
that.
Poilievre is not going to. That's why he's calling for a snap right now.
Okay, so he is calling for a snap election.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is because he knows that Poilievre is facing a downturn in momentum, and he's hoping to because if they do wait, then I know Poilievre's war chest is pretty big. They would have a lot of opportunity, weeks, perhaps, maybe even months, to build up a campaign against Carney. If they do a snap election, they won't have that benefit. And so that's why Carney is potentially going to call this election really quickly. But Carney is just as bad, if not worse, than Justin Trudeau. He may be a little bit more manly, barely, but like he doesn't seem to have as much estrogen running through his veins as Justin Trudeau. Maybe a little more T. You know what I mean?
A little bit. Low T, but not no T.
Right. Exactly. That's exactly right. And he is just as, anti-America and anti-Trump, I should say.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to this tariff issue. And to be fair, Poilievre is too. Poilievre has been pushing back because now he's getting lumped in with Trump as being a MAGA guy.
He's not. He's anything. He's very. He's a conservative that more on the lines of like a Mitt Romney. He's kind of he doesn't like the talk of we're going to become another state and stuff like that.
Right.
Which, by the way, if I was Canadian, I wouldn't like that either. I mean, some Canadians do, but I wouldn't like the fact that you think that you're just going to come and eat up our country. Do you know what I mean? So there is he is being lumped in with the MAGA and crowd, and because of that, that has really hurt him.
Yeah. And I like him. I mean, he's one of those people that is super adept at handling the media. Like, you remember the Apple eating interview?
Who are the people? Some people.
Yes.
Who are they?
It was just.
What are their names? What have they said? Well, they've said things. What kind of things? Well, you're the one who brought it up, not me. I mean, he's great at that.
Oh my God. So good. So good. But he's also been throughout this entire tariff discussion, he's been like Canada first, which you would expect of someone who wants to lead Canada. So I don't blame him for that. But yeah, he is now seeing a downturn in his popularity. But Mark Carney, just to make sure everybody's aware, is just as psychotic as Justin Trudeau, and perhaps even more so, particularly when it comes to climate change. He's one of those net zero fanatics. Like, he is out of his mind. Yeah.
He was like the prime minister of climate change BS.
Yeah. I mean,
and he's a Goldman Sachs guy. He works at Goldman Sachs by the way, he doesn't even have he's not a politician. He's not in parliament. He doesn't hold a seat in parliament. No. So
what is he? Like, what is he?
He was just he was like kind of like a cabinet member kind of thing with the climate change. So he didn't have an actual parliament seat, but he's one of those. He would definitely glue himself to something.
Well, he gave a little speech after he won this, whatever this was, whatever you call whatever this vote was. And he talked about the tariffs specifically. And here's what he said.
There's someone who's trying to do the opposite. There's someone who's trying to weaken our economy. Donald Trump. And Donald Trump, as we know, has put, as the Prime Minister just said, unjustified tariffs on what we build, on what we sell, on how we make a living. He's attacking Canadian families, workers, and businesses, and we cannot let him succeed. And my government will keep our tariffs on until the Americans show us respect.
Okay. He said, we win at hockey and we'll win at this. Okay. I mean, I question at times. I'm like, why again are we tariffing them? I know that that they charge us like 8,000% for butter or something ridiculous, but I'm trying to figure, get a full understanding. And don't tell me it's fentanyl when less than 1% comes from there. There's more to it.
There is. It's definitely more than that. I think Trump, along with, a lot of other economists, believe that ultimately, even though there could be some short-term pain, that the long-term benefit of these tariffs is going to be huge. And so I guess we'll see. Right. Yeah. We'll see how that plays out.
It's the old saying. It's, the Chinese proverb about, the farmer and his, his horse runs away, and he said, that's bad. And he says, we'll see. Then the horse comes back a week later with several horses. And he's like, isn't that great? You got this, your horses. And he's like, we'll see. It's that kind of thing. We'll see. But you've got to explain to the people, look, there's going to be some pain in certain areas. There's absolutely.
I think he's starting to do that. He is starting to do that.
Really explain, because people will stick with you if you're showing an end game. This is why we're doing this. Our goal is to try to bring back certain manufacturing. Our goal is to do certain things. Our farmers want to be able to sell stuff here and et cetera. Okay, show the people exactly that and why there may be some inflationary issues, and be honest with them too. Say, look, car prices, because they're not saying car prices are going to go up $3,000. People who, my friends at car dealerships said, dude, you can expect 25% in certain places jump.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big jump. If it's cars $100,000, because that's what cars apparently are nowadays, going to 125, that makes you rethink things. You're taking out a mortgage.
Yeah, that's crazy. That is a crazy amount of money for a car.
Yeah. So, is there heroin in my car? Is it worth something on the street? I don't know what's up with my car. So
does it come with diamonds in the trunk?
Is there $100,000 cash in the glove box that makes it $100,000? Is that how that works? But you've got to be with the people, because if you're there explaining it to everybody, this is why they're doing it. But you and I both know, man, you win the economy, you win everything. You could, the Ukraine war could rage forever. Gaza go to hell. You can even not do great at immigration. But if you win the economy, people will stick with you. You could fix the rest of it, but if the economy goes to hell, bye-bye.
Yeah. And so he's making a bet that things are, by the time his term is over, that we're going to be like rolling in money from all the tariffs. That's the bet that he's making.
About the midterms.
He does have to worry about that.
Midterms, and I explain to everybody, he has about a year to get everything on the right path, because otherwise we're a fickle bunch. We'll turn fast, and then we'll replace the Senate and the Congress will flip. And then all of a sudden he's got 2 years as a lame duck president, which he's going to have anyways, but 2 years where he has got no hope to get anything done. And the rest of the time, it's going to be him probably getting impeached by Adam Schiff.
Oh my God.
He's such a dip, Schiff.
Oh, he is indeed. I think we have a clip of him in just a little bit. Yeah, we'll get to that. But you may have heard too that over the weekend, there was some psychopath like right near the White House brandishing a weapon, apparently wanting to kill the president. And that person got shot by Secret Service. I don't know the condition of that person. I know that they were sent to the hospital.
Dead.
Are they dead?
I think so. Yeah. I think the people thought he was suicidal. Either way, he got what he wanted.
Well, that's true. If he's dead, then that is.
Yeah, they don't fire to wound.
That's true. That is true. But the result of it has been all of these videos all over TikTok and other social media of people going, somebody else needs to take up that mantle, essentially. So many videos of people saying, do it, do it, do it. I mean, they don't care that they're getting visits from, the FBI to their homes, being like, you cannot threaten a president. You cannot call for him to be executed like on social media. You can't do that.
No.
And there are so many people that are doing it. It's just sick.
People are well. They're well. And again, you F around and you find out, you get a knock on the door. And then the next thing you know, they're saying, you do realize that this is a federal offense.
Right.
And you have a right to free speech, but it crosses the line when you're calling for the death of somebody, and that's what you're doing. So now you have to go and potentially face the charges. And that is, I don't care if it was Biden or you don't do that to public officials. This is what separates us from Mexico and from Colombia with Pablo Escobar eliminating like half of the presidential candidates. This is what separates us.
It used to.
Yeah.
It used to. Speaking of Trump, he had some moments over the weekend, one on Air Force One, where there was a reporter asking him if he believed that Putin was disrespecting him because he invaded Ukraine. And Trump had exactly zero patience for that question. And here's how that played out.
A lot of progress, I believe, this week.
Is President Putin disrespecting you by attacking Ukraine when you're trying to make peace there? Is President Putin disrespecting you by attacking Ukraine when you're trying to make peace there?
What did he do?
Well, he's attacking Ukraine.
Is he disrespecting me?
Yeah.
Who are you with?
I'm Michael Burnbaum, the Washington Post.
You've lost a lot of credibility. Go ahead. What else?
Just like,
Who are you
next.
I know. Who are you with? Are they in a war right now? Is there any peace deal? Well, then what am I supposed to do?
How is it disrespecting me personally that he invaded Ukraine?
So,
like, what is... Oh my God.
I think the thought was you guys are supposed to be in peace talks and he's still attacking Ukraine. Isn't that a disrespect? No, because we don't have a peace agreement.
Right. They're in a war.
Yeah. I mean, there wasn't like, hey, we're going to get a deal done, guys. Let's call time. You'll call time out when time out is called.
Right. There is no ceasefire agreement.
No.
There's nothing right now. And then people continue to want to make a fight, a rift, a division of some sort between Donald Trump and Elon Musk in the cabinet, Elon Musk and everybody. And so Trump is spending a lot of his time answering reporter questions about whether Elon is having fights with, like, Marco Rubio, for example. That's the latest one that they want us to believe they're having this horrible meltdown fight about. So here he is dealing with another question about that.
We have seen the retirements accounts fall in recent day.
No clash. I was there. You're just a troublemaker. And you're not supposed to be asking that question because we're talking about the World Cup. Elon gets along great with Marco, and they're both doing a fantastic job. There is no clash.
Mr. President,
Who are you with? Who are you with?
NBC.
Oh, no wonder. That's an NBC.
Who has more authority, Elon Musk or the cabinet secretary?
Any other questions about the World Cup?
Yeah, I'm sad for the World Cup. Look, there's a lot of egos.
It's true.
I mean, at some point in time, Trump and Elon will clash because they're egos. You can't have two giant Godzilla and King Kong are on an island. At some point in time, they're probably going to squabble. It's going to happen. Doesn't mean that they can't be friends again one day. Doesn't mean, but of course. And yes, I think some people looking around going, Elon, you know what? I don't care that you just, you go after certain groups. There's certain things I need and I'll do it in my time. That's going to happen. But is it as big as they make it out to be? No. But Elon's part of that group now where they can get him with Trump because he's a great foil. Bless you.
Thank you. I'm just so tired of the media trying to make that a thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just so juvenile. It is exhausting. And I'm sure you can tell that Trump is exhausted by this line of questioning. It's just so pointless. I mean, clearly there is stuff getting done. We just saw that tweet from Marco Rubio this morning about USAID. Things are happening and all the cabinet is working with Elon to eliminate useless, pathetic spending that none of us should be having to fund. And I'm grateful for it. And the whole creating fights out of nothing is pointless.
Yeah.
So
and
stupid.
Of course, like I said, you got egos. You got freaking egos. Does people not understand that? I mean
there's gonna be some of this.
Look at some of the greatest rock and roll bands of all time. Do you think Paul McCartney and John Lennon got on all the time? The hell they didn't.
Right.
They fought. They clashed. That's because you have egos in the room. And one person right now feels like right now I got to, carte blanche to kind of get rid of a lot of this stuff. And it may, land on other people's toes. And that'll last until Trump says, it's a bridge too far. We're going to scale it back a little bit.
And you know that Elon understands his place in this world.
Yeah,
he has said so on numerous occasions that he is serving the president. He is carrying out the president's agenda. And so if Trump were to say, you need to ratchet this back a little bit, Elon's going to do that. He's not going to push back on Trump. He knows his role. And so this is all just made up garbage. So the State of the Union, which I know wasn't really a State of the Union, but whatever, it was a presidential address last week. AOC she's decided that because Trump did not include in his speech any reference to Medicaid, that he is afraid of that issue. He's afraid to talk about Medicaid. Here she is with this new theory.
Don't you find it interesting that he did not mention Medicaid once? This is a massive political vulnerability. We're going to take all of this out of Medicaid, and then we're going to move it over here, give this much to billionaires. They are afraid of this. I'm telling you, if they weren't afraid of it, they would continue to be hosting their town halls. If they weren't afraid of it, Trump would have said something.
Oh, wait. So wait, I just want to double check. So they're going to start cutting money out of programs and just putting money in people's pockets? Is that the way that works?
Yeah.
So what do you mean it sound like? It's like, I went to my bank account today and I got an extra $4 billion thanks to Trump getting rid of Medicaid. First of all, you and I both know this. Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security all need to be fixed. Nobody wants to be on the hook for it. Nobody's got the balls enough to take it on for real, because to have an honest conversation with America, which America says they want, but they really can't handle, is impossible. We've got to fix these things because they're going to go bankrupt. They're going to last until they can no longer last. And,
and then there's going to be explosion.
And then everybody's going to be like, why didn't you tell us about it? Because when we told you, you all cried like babies.
But I mean, she's also, I mean, this whole idea that he's afraid to talk about it is absurd because he keeps getting asked about it and his answer is always the same. It sounds like this.
Growth like you've never seen before.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you said that.
We're going to have growth. I'm not going to touch Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. Now, we're going to get fraud out of there. You know, you see where I talk about it all the time. We have people 250 years old and all, you know, tremendous fraud. But that has nothing to do with that. We're going to get the fraud out, and everybody wants us to get the fraud out, and therefore you'll make it better. But we're going to have tremendous growth.
He has said that repeatedly, that he's not touching those programs. As much as, to your point, he probably should. He's insisting that he's not, that he's only focused on reducing the waste, the fraud, the misuse of those funds, getting people off the Medicaid rolls that have no business being there. That's what he's talking about.
Yeah, because some of these programs weren't designed for a 32-year-old that sits at home, plays video games at mom's house all day. Others were designed for, you know, a single mom or dad who are struggling, and they're trying. That's what they're designed for. They're a handout, not a handout. And Social Security, I remind everybody this: Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. Medicare and Medicaid, you put $1 in, you get $8 out over your lifetime. So, and Social Security, they're going to blow that thing up in a major way. It's not, you were supposed to retire at 62 and die at 65.
Right.
Not retire at 62 and live to be 92. So
that's right. And you know, people used to not like it when I would say this during the primaries. But Nikki Haley was actually the only person who was talking about actually changing up those programs in ways that would have a meaningful impact. But she got heat for it because she suggested things like adjusting the retirement age, and people don't like that. But it has to happen. You're exactly right. Yeah. And she was the only one that would talk about it. Now, she wasn't my pick for in the primaries, but I did appreciate the fact that she was the only one saying out loud the thing that had to be done. You know?
And by the way, you can cut out lots of waste, fraud, and abuse, and a lot of these things. It's still not going to fix the thing that needs to be done.
Right.
And that is like 80% of your medical spending in your life will come in the last 90 days.
Wow.
And those are not my figures. That comes straight from Medicare and Medicaid, as well as every other American Medical Association. It's all going to come because you're on life support, you're on all of these things. And on the other side of it, first of all, we don't have the population to continue Social Security at a rate. We're going to end up like Greece. We're going to have two people trying to keep one person retired.
Right.
And you know what? You're going to have to adjust it to 68 or 70. And the problem is it's not about politicians talking about it. We won't have that conversation with ourselves. I would say 48, but I'm 54. I have no belief that I'm going to see any part of my Social Security in the future because not because I won't live long enough, because I will. It's because I recognize that just isn't going to be a possibility based on where we're going. And nobody wants to do it. And whose fault is that? It's as much our fault because we won't have a conversation and go, you know what? He's right. This isn't going to last.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Nobody wants to be the bad guy, which is why that can keeps getting kicked down the road, and it will continue until it just implodes. And then everybody's going to be like, war.
You have to be on your second term as a president, or you have to know going into it, I'm only getting one shot at this and I'm only going to be a one-term president.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Trump also talked about Elon because, not just in the context of whether or not he's fighting with Marco or whoever, but he also talked about the fact and reminded everybody Elon doesn't have to be doing this. And in fact, he is taking a huge personal risk to do everything that he's doing right now for Doge and for this administration. Here he is.
Done is made people realize how many people should be cut. Because normally you go in and you say, all right, cut 4% of your workforce. He said cut 50%, 60%, 70%. That's a big thing. No, he's done a great job. And he's paying a price for it.
He said
he
he had
didn't
death
need this.
threats.
He's paying a price for it, I guess. I don't know. He actually is a real patriot. This is something that's really not good for him, and yet he's doing it. But he's opened a lot of eyes.
He has opened a lot of eyes. And now we have 83% of USAID funding cut. Yes.
You can see Maria Bartiromo with her glasses like she's nodding to librarian. Really, tell me more there, sir, Mr. President. Her hair's come hither like she just came out of a room. Yeah. You know what? Cutting all this stuff, everybody's like, oh, it's because it's also about bringing our workforce and the stuff that they work on up to actual modern times. It's like they're playing on an Atari, right? Like that's what they're working off of. It's like somebody's in there with a typewriter. I mean, that's how many people need to file, and they're all walking around. I'm a civil servant. I'm like, shut up. Shut up. You don't get awards, right? There's not somebody walking around with a whole bunch of pretend like you're the best at Control-Alt-Delete. Like captain. It's ridiculous. We don't need 9 people filing.
Exactly. Well, yeah. And it just exposed everything that Elon has done has exposed how truly wasteful and behind the times and archaic some of the processes that these agencies use are. And Representative Hageman, is that how you say it? Hageman?
Yeah. Hageman.
She was talking in an interview just recently about the Department of Education specifically and what an absolute grift some of it is. Listen to this.
Targeted at these bureaucrats.
Yes.
And so what can you expect?
Well, let's look at the Department of Education. The federal Department of Education has a budget of about $280 billion a year. Less than 25% goes to educating our students. So where does the other $220 billion go? It goes to a bureaucracy. It goes to a consultant, and that consultant then donates money back to the Democrats. And then it goes to a different consultant, and then it goes to an NGO, and then it goes to, it is money laundering and money churning at its absolute best. And you can look at almost every single agency and you will find it. So the brilliance of Doge isn't that he's going in and cutting spending. He doesn't have the authority to do that. We're the ones that have the authority to do that. What I want him to do is come up with a report, go through agency by agency by agency, identify every single program that we should not be funding, put a number attached to it. We slap a preamble on the front of that report, and we say that every single agency is having their budget cut by X amount as shown in the attached report.
That's all he's doing.
It's like you go and you look. When I was a kid, we had a principal, we had a vice principal. Now you go to school, there we have 2 principals, we have 3 vice principals, we have 75 admin people, but we can't find a teacher. Why is the admin person doing the job getting paid $100,000 a year, and the person who's teaching is getting 52 and having to spend their own money to get freaking crayons?
Right? It's so absurd. And every chart you can look at, it doesn't matter what chart, what place you get your stats from. The more money we have thrown at education, the worse the results, because the money does not go to education. As Representative Hageman just pointed out, it goes to all of these consultants who then pay off Democrats, or it goes to admin, which does nothing but make sure that we're participating in DEI initiatives. It's all such a racket, and it does nothing for our kids. Nothing.
Not a damn thing.
Sometimes I'm terrified of AI, but sometimes I love it. And this is one of those times. So you remember, of course, the now infamous meeting that was held in the Oval Office between Trump, Vance, Zelensky, and a huge room of other cabinet folks and press, right? Somebody has made a new version of that using AI voice recognition. And this would have been hilarious if this is how that meeting had actually gone.
My dick, and it's a good 12 inches long, while yours, Mr. Zelensky, is really short. I mean, what do you have? Something like a 2-inch micro penis, and You think you can sit and talk
No,
with the grown-ups
wait a
men?
minute.
No,
You
shut
lied.
the fuck up.
That's
Not
not
only do you
true.
have a micro
Not
penis, which
micro.
is an important point, but on top of that, you refuse to share your Pokemon cards, and that's not
Okay,
nice.
so first of all, a 2-inch penis is not a micro penis, okay? And for your second point, my Pokemon cards are all mine, and I don't have to share them if I don't want them. I work super hard to get them, and they're really special to me. So I'll keep them.
You don't understand. You can't continue to play with us if you refuse to share
It's
your
not fair.
cards. Calm
It was
down,
my
let
mom
me
who gave
explain.
them to me.
I understand that
That's
you're not
not
happy,
cool.
buddy, but that's how it is when you play with friends. So when I ask you to show us all your
But they are mine. They are my
Pokemon Dragon
cards.
cards.
I
Shut
received
up.
them for
Shut up.
Christmas. They are my
Listen,
dragons.
Volodymyr, if you keep going like this, you know what? Nobody will
But
want to play with
that's
you
not
anymore,
fair.
and that includes
you
Vance
never
and me.
want to let me play with your Xbox.
You know why you can
How
play
do
with
you
the
think
Xbox?
that makes me
There's
feel?
some games that are too violent for you, and
I'm
you're
old
still
enough.
too young.
It's not that
There's
violent.
too much
I'm big
violence.
enough.
Yes, it's
I
violent,
don't
and you'll
even
end
need
up
a
having
nightlife
nightmares
to
again,
fall
and
asleep at
crying
night
to your
anymore.
mom, and then she'll call my mom, and I'll be the one who gets in trouble. So you're going to stop complaining and give me your Pokemon cards and your lunch money before I punch you.
So good. Oh my God.
Need a nightlight now.
I just love that. So, I mean, it's scary though. It is scary how AI can do that. Well, I mean, it could do it with our voices too. Like it could make us say whatever. That's
Well,
scary. It's a little scary to me.
It's awesome.
All right, we got to talk about crazy liberals. We always have a segment where we just showcase some of the more crazy ones. And of course, the reason for my name today is because of Jasmine Crockett, who on her Facebook stories reposted someone's cartoon that showed her and AOC beating, like physically beating up a Republican. Here's what she posted.
Stop. Do you remember when who was a crazy guy out in Arizona? I forget it. Who posted that like cartoon of AOC getting chopped, and they censured him? Yeah. It was a few years ago. I forgot who it was, but it was a congressman, and they censured him, and it became a big deal because it was this violent cartoon, and it was like anime style of somebody slicing through AOC or something like that. And everybody's like, oh my God. This obviously is totally fine.
Oh my gosh. No, I totally didn't remember that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this is now what I guess where we are. We've devolved to a place where now Congress people are posting that kind of stuff, like essentially saying, look at, yay, I'm beating up a Republican. This is where we are now. And I gotta say, I'm worried about, and I know we contribute to this, we participate in giving her attention, but it's because I'm just so like, I can't believe that anyone can look at what she says and does and not find it horrific. Like, and so that's why we share it, because we cannot understand that there are people out there who look at it and think, yeah, that's what I want out of a representative.
You were just, we played stuff earlier from people like, you need to go do this and you need to go do that, pick up the mantle, and people are inspired by destroying stuff and go out there and kill CEOs and stuff. That's insane. This cartoon is nothing compared to that.
Yeah. But I mean, this is the trend now. And Jasmine Crockett her star is rising. And she is 78 shades of stupid. I mean, you guys, here's what she said about illegal immigration.
Criminal violation to enter the country illegally. It's not a criminal. It's a crime. It's not a crime, which is why they're so frustrated, because they really want our local law enforcement to go out and round up people when they could be looking out for the murderers and the sexual abusers as well as the robbers. They want them to go and round people up on civil accusations.
What I will.
It's not illegal to be an illegal alien. It's not a crime.
It's a misdemeanor that faces up to 6 months in jail and a fine. The second one is a felony. So you leave and you come back. Those are crimes.
Mm-hmm.
And so is it a crime like robbing a bank? No, it wasn't meant for it to be that way, but we weren't in a position all those years ago where the insanity has now caused us to go, oh my God, look how many people have come here illegally.
Right.
So it's so Stupid.
But she is a rising star in the Democrat Party. And worse yet is that Andrew Schultz and Charlemagne, whatever that show is that they have together, they were talking about how she is exactly who other Democrats need to emulate because she's so relatable. Here's what they said.
That's how I want to hear Democrats talk.
Goddamn right.
Like, I love that. Like, low key, it's
right.
sticky. It's also relatable. Like, Democrats, you got to stop talking like these Ivy League weirdos who are careful about every single word they use. It's completely unrelatable. A girl that talks like that, tell me you don't feel as a working class American, which is who you really need to get back. Tell me you don't feel relatability to that.
That's what you need to have on Flagrant.
I would love that.
You need to have Jasmine Crockett on Flagrant.
And she might have the balls to actually do it. The rest of them are pussy.
She'll definitely do it. And you know what's so interesting? Jesse Waters last night, he labeled her the face of the Democratic Party. And I know Jesse might have been being funny, but he's right.
Let's go.
Jasmine Crockett is the face of the Democratic Party. There is nobody other than AOC. I got to give AOC props because I like what she's doing right now. Other than AOC, there is nobody that's being objective about the bullshit coming from both sides and willing to talk like that from the Democratic Party.
You need to talk like that.
It's how she's saying it. It's not what she's saying. Like, that's the issue. She straight up talks, and she doesn't, mince words, and she doesn't bullshit anybody. And now, like, what she says is absurd, but
right.
She is talking to the working person to a certain extent. They left that a long time ago. They decided all they cared about was academia and weirdo activists. So they're right about that, but what she says is absurd.
I mean that, because we talked about this with Xavier DeRusso too, who also says don't underestimate her. She is a real threat to the GOP, and I believe that, even though she is an absolute idiot.
Yeah.
She is relatable to the working class, right? Like, just exactly what Andrew and Charlemagne were saying. She is going to be somebody that people think she's like me. That's how I talk in my life. And so she hears me. She understands my plight. And it's a worry. I mean, it is a real worry. And even the people that they were kind of ripping on, like the wonkier, the think tank kind of people, even they are coming around. Now, they're not quite as good at it, but even Adam Schiff is trying to adjust his tone. And so here's
Schiff.
Here's what he said in a recent selfie video.
To speak out, we need to be courageous. They come after me all the time. Elon Musk and Donald Trump, they call me a criminal. They call me a traitor. Their MAGA minions online come after me to try to intimidate me, to create fear. I'll tell you my response. My response to that is screw you and the horse you rode in on.
He's such a tough guy. Screw you and the horse you rode in on. Not a long ball hitter.
Just wait. Give him a few weeks and he'll be dropping F-bombs. He's getting the message.
They can't. They feel, even watching him do that, it was uncomfortable for him.
Right?
Right? It's uncomfortable.
It's not natural.
They don't know how to relate to human beings. And that's most politicians.
That's true.
Right? Like, they just, do I shake your hand? Do I, how does this work? They don't. They can't have a conversation. That's why they lose. That's why the left has lost so much, because they've stopped talking to the average person. That's why if I'm the Republicans, man, I go, let's just raise taxes on the billionaires. Shut them up. These people don't pay taxes. We know that. That was Steve Bannon's thing. He's like, raise taxes on them. They don't pay taxes. They'll find a way. They got people who work full time all day to figure out how not to pay taxes. Right? You could raise it to 100%. They won't pay a penny any more than they want to. So go after the working person. If you win them for good.
So do you think that this will end up being effective for Democrats? This sort of
It can until she's actually. All of this sounds great until she has to debate somebody. I tell you who I think there are two people that I look at, and Rahm Emanuel, we talked about, Stephen A. Smith. Those two.
You think that's a real thing?
I think if he's already said, look, I shouldn't be anywhere near this. And the fact that I am is scary. It shows you how weak they are. He goes, but if you put me up against Byron Donalds, he goes, he'd eat me for lunch.
Huh.
He goes,
That's
he goes,
interesting.
he would. He goes, because that's his job. His job is to know all of these things. That's, like if you put Byron Donalds against him in sports, he isn't going to win.
Mhm.
And, but it's the way that he is able to relate to people. And this is a relationship business. You have to be the greatest salesman in the world, the greatest. And right now, Trump can take. He sells all the sizzle. We'll worry about what the steak tastes like later. The Democrats, they don't have any sizzle, and their steak is vegan, and nobody freaking wants it.
Well, you were just talking about taxing all the billionaires or whatever, and AOC is sounding the alarm about taxes and how basically all the cuts that Trump wants to make are only going to benefit billionaires. And it's so amazing to me how Congress people like her believe that the government, that taxes are revenue to the government, that it's not actually stealing.
Don't even get a hat.
It's not stealing from us. Here she is in all of her glory.
I want you to understand, I want everyone to understand that tax cuts cost money. We have to pay for them. So every dollar that you spend in federal taxes is going to pay for some rich person's G-Wagon, and it's also going to cut in 8-year-old kids with autism's ability to access Medicaid. That's what they are putting on the table. That's what they're trying to make worse. And frankly, I don't care what party you are, we cannot stand for this.
It'd be great is if you're a billionaire and you cut taxes and they gave it to you, and then they sent you a little picture of the 8-year-old autistic boy who can't see his people anymore. Just like when you go and adopt somebody in Kenya, they're like, this is Dwayne. Dwayne is on the spectrum, and because of your new G-Wagon, he can't access anything. So he is going to eternally be on Medicaid for the rest of his life. So congratulations. Like, nice. That's nice. Solid.
It's just such an entitled way of thinking. Whenever Congress people are like, we have to pay for tax cuts, that sentence alone just makes my brain hurt. You know what I mean?
I always tell everybody, you want to know who the greediest is? Everybody's, it's business owners, it's corporations. I say, the greediest is government, because government comes and tells you they need more. Trickle down doesn't work unless, of course, we're the ones trickling it down. Then it absolutely works, right? It works 100%. But if it's you as a business owner who's employing people and paying, all of this stuff, no, that doesn't work because you're evil and bad and you're greedy. But over here, if I take that from you, then I decide who gets it. Well, there you go. That's good.
We also need to talk about Al Green, because now he is making the rounds on all the talk shows since he had his little moment at the State of the Union, and he shook his cane and everybody paid attention. And he was on the Breakfast Club explaining how the fact that he was kicked out of that address is obviously due to discrimination.
And when the speaker decided that I would be removed, and then there was this motion, this resolution to censure me, it became obvious to me that I was not being treated as others were. Mm-hmm. And candidly speaking, it is invidious discrimination, harmful discrimination. That's
bullshit. It's such nonsense.
Everybody, even on the left, was like, you guys embarrassed yourself.
Right? He could have been as white as snow if he had behaved that exact same way as a white person shaking the cane. They would have thrown him out.
Yeah, tosses. And you've also now laid the groundwork for the Boeberts and the Marjorie Taylor Greene, who also love to suck up the limelight. This was the best thing to ever happen to you, Al Green. This is the best thing, right? Besides the dastardly deeds, which was hilarious. So you're going to impeach him with the dastardly deeds. That was my favorite thing he did the last couple of weeks. But we're going to impeach him for what? Dastardly deeds. I'm like, I don't think this is a cartoon, but whatever. But this was great because now you got to do all the talk shows, right? You got to go around. You did this on purpose. You wanted the spotlight, so stop bitching about the spotlight.
Yeah. I mean, this is his claim to fame now. Hilariously, though, when they talk to other Democrats about it, like the not reasonable ones, like Ro Khanna, obviously he's going around saying that was awful. We made fools of ourselves. But there's other Democrats who are going around, those like Adam Schiff and Jamie Raskin, who's just awful. Jamie Raskin's point about the cane shaker is that it really should have been Trump who was censured.
Making a very strong, valid, substantive point, which is there is no mandate to destroy Medicaid. And the vast majority of Democrats rejected the idea of censuring him. And really, if we were censuring anybody, it should have been Donald Trump, who I don't think had been back to our chamber since he incited a violent insurrection against us. And then he used his pulpit in order to call a sitting member of the United States Senate Pocahontas. So I think a racial and ethnic slur from the president was a far greater insult to the dignity and decorum of our chamber.
You know what? She wouldn't have been called Pocahontas if she didn't lie for all those years.
Right? I mean, the fact that he's actually saying that was a racial slur, I died. I could not believe it.
My favorite thing last week, they asked her, hey, what did you think when Trump called you out by name? And then she went on about it. And I'm like, your name's not Pocahontas. That's not your name. Your name is Elizabeth Warren. Your name's not Pocahontas. You're not Pocahontas.
That's a great point.
You freaking clown.
Oh my God. That's just that was everything. Just could not believe. And they're trying to say that was a racial slur, as if it's somehow worse to use that name than it was for her to pretend that she was an American Indian for so long. Yeah. Which is worse? Like, seriously?
It's their logic. It's liberal logic.
Yeah. And then there was Eric Swalwell, who is also trying to go the way of Jasmine Crockett by using the F-bomb and trying to be funny. And like, Democrats are it's like the whole saying the left can't meme. This is a perfect example of it. He's trying to throw out an F-bomb and pretend that Elon Musk is president. So he's making a funny joke here, you guys. See if you can get it.
What a fucking week, huh? You know how weird this week was? I went to the State of the Union, and the president didn't even speak. He just sat up in the visitors gallery like a total weirdo and let his press secretary do all the talking.
Oh,
what a week.
Wow.
Get it? That's so funny.
Jeez, talk about low T. I mean, I know you dated Fang, but that's kind of a beard, right? Like we all agree. You and Lindsey Graham? I'm not saying, but that's what I heard.
I mean, that was the lamest.
They're awful. They're not good at any of this stuff. And he's all trying to be casual. Like, what a week this was, right, guys? It's the worst week ever. You're just like, dude, come on.
Well, it gets even more cringe. This is actually a little older. This didn't happen just this past weekend, but that really weird Democrat representative with the purple hair, DeLauro. Is right. Somebody decided it would be funny and a good idea for her to try to make a video using all the Gen Z slang. And it was as bad as like when I use it. You know what I mean? Like, and I just do it to be funny. Like if I talk about a good song and I say it's a banger, I know how ridiculous it sounds when I say that. But she is doing this kind of unironically, and it ended up being so cringe. Behold.
Yo, this is the Ranking Rizzler on appropriations, serving Connecticut's 3rd District. It's time to enter your dark academia Congress era. All right, besties, House appropriation is the money moves in Congress. We are not chasing the bag, we are the bag. Democrats are making life smoother through government funding. It's giving, it's giving. So Sigma, main character energy. But Republicans' Project 2025 is mad sus. Eliminating the Department of Education? Negative aura points. Basically, the biggest phantom tax on the environment, on your education, and your rights. Big L posting it online, buddy. Democrats understood the assignment, but go off. See how I keep you informed? Very cutesy, very demure.
Oh, no. Nope.
That's awful. Again, where was the person in there going, hey, guys? No. Erase that video. No. She used the word
bad
Riz.
Plan.
She used the word Riz. We're not doing that. Big sus. She didn't know what she's not even.
Mad sus.
Yeah, mad, big sus, whatever. All of it's awful. Just no. I don't even want her to use the word rad. Right? If she wants to use something from the 1920s, like when she was a flapper, knock herself out. Hey, this is mad crazy. I got to say that. But outside of that, no. The Great Gatsby was the bee's knees.
It's just the most cringy thing ever. And they just keep out cringing themselves. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I just when you think it can't get worse, it does.
Hold my
And
Zima.
then, yeah, right. And then there was a Bernie Sanders rally, I think in Kenosha, which
Oh,
is
yeah.
Wisconsin, right? Oh, you guys. Oh my God. So there is this trans woman who goes by Laura Jane Grace. And that person was hired to perform at the Bernie Sanders rally. I can't play you. I'm going to play you a few bars of the song, and I use that term loosely, that they sang, again, using that term loosely. It was vile. Okay,
Yeah.
this is a family-friendly rally for a politician, and this is what the song performed sounded like. Brace yourselves, hide your kids, hide your wives.
God have a big fat dick, cause it feels like he's fucking me. Are his balls filled with lightning? Do they tingle like heaven's key?
If you thought that they were singing about God having a big, that's what they were singing about.
He's so brave. Hey,
Oh
kids,
my
did you enjoy that?
God. I can't believe that that was not just allowed, but probably paid for.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
And
mean, it's just vile.
keep swinging and
Vile.
missing. Keep swinging and missing. Keep doing what you're doing, and you're going to keep getting what you get. And you deserve it.
Yeah. And then when Bernie took the stage, he thanked that person.
Yeah.
The University of Wisconsin Parkside for the venue. Let me thank Kinsella and Pulse LLC for the music. Laura Jane Grace for the music. Lori, Ellen, Randy, and Congress.
Wow. That was unbelievable. But it happened. And this is where we are with Democrats, you guys. This is where we are. It's not getting better. It's getting worse, and it's devolving like literally every second. It just gets worse and worse and worse. All right. It is time for some My Pillow Talks. This is the best part, right? Where we made everybody mad, and now it's time to bring you back up. So we're going to have some fun things. And actually, it was my husband that sent me this clip of a tennis game that just, it's so dude. Like, this is how dudes treat each other. And I just laughed so hard at this. The slow motion, man.
That is exactly how dudes treat each other. I always tell women that. We're like, you're still mean. I'm like, do you see how we treat each other? We're awful to each other. It's what's great.
There was actually, I saw a tweet from somebody that was talking about that whole Atlantic piece that they tried to write about JD and how mean it is that all of these memes are being made. And it was this guy that said he was in the hospital, literally dying. Like they had found tumors all over his body, right? And he was in the throes of death, and he's recovered since, but he was in a really bad way. And a friend of his called him in the hospital and said, "Hey, listen, man, I heard you're not doing well. You've got all these tumors." And the guy was like, "Yeah, I'm not doing really well. It's actually even hard for me to talk right now. My voice is horrible." And the guy goes, "Fag," and hung up and then blocked him. And the guy who was ill was so moved and was like, that's when I knew that was one of my best friends. Because of course the next day he unblocks him, they talk, but that is so a guy thing.
Such a
I
dude
love that
thing.
story.
That is such a guy thing. Like,
right?
I did a story a couple weeks ago about a lady who tried to take a selfie with a bull shark. I don't know if you saw that. And she got her arms bitten off. And I made fun of it. And people were like, how could you do that? I said, let me tell you how. If I had a friend who did that and he's in the hospital and he's got no arms, we'd walk in there and go, dude, you're such a douchebag. What an ass hat. The first words were like, outside of that, how was your vacation? I mean, we would hammer him. We would never let him live it down, and nor should he.
Right.
Because that's what guys do. That's how we show love.
That's right. And that's why I love that tweet, because it was so like women would never do that to each other, but guys do. And it does. That is how you guys express love. And I love it. I think it's hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Now, I know that you have been and continue to be an owner of exotic animals. What do you have right now? You have like a giant lizard or something?
Yeah, I've got a lot of lizards and stuff. Yeah. We're moving towards the mammals now. We're getting ready to move towards the mammals now that we're out here in Nashville.
Okay, good. Because I have a very strict fur policy. So are you getting things with fur?
I don't know if they're fur. I mean, like some of them want fur, but the porcupines.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean,
furry.
I guess like if you pet them when they're not all like what do they feel like?
70 pounds, and they're really sweet, really sweet. Yeah, and you pet them this way.
Can you hold them?
Yeah,
like,
can you just come underneath and stuff? Yeah. So
so you can hold them comfortably without fear of.
But once they get to 70 pounds, for a while it takes a long time for any of their the barbs and stuff to grow. And it takes them a while. So at first they're kind of furry and fuzzy and wacky.
Okay. Wow, that's super interesting. Okay, have you ever had a bat?
I have.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Long time ago. They're a trip.
Okay, I love them. I think they are so cool. I know not all of our audience loves bats, but then when I see these videos,
don't eat a bat. Don't eat a bat. Don't ever eat a effing bat.
No, I mean obviously you don't want to eat it. And why would you when they look like this?
Being a bad day, watch a bat eating a banana.
I'm sorry, but this is the cutest thing ever.
Yeah.
Look at him. So what did you do with your bat? Like, where is it?
He did his little thing, and it was great. And he would come out walking. Have you ever seen him walk? They're creepy as shit when they walk.
You walked a bat?
No, they would come out and they'd walk every once in a while, and they're on the It's so creepy. No, I didn't walk a bat. It was injured.
So what happened to it?
Got it better, but like I've had every exotic animal you could think of, but they're cool. They're neat.
Okay, but like, do you keep them until they die? Or not?
I've got friends they've got bats, but they got bats in rooms actually. Because that's like their jam. They like that. So they're neat. They're interesting. They're fun. They're a trip.
I think they're adorable. The little sky puppies. They're so cute. Here is a video of a cat who wants in. I've never seen a cat who wants in do this. When cats are at a sliding glass door, I've seen them do this on the door. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I've never seen a cat do this. Where it jumps up and down.
I want in.
Like that I've not seen. That's amazing.
Awesome. That is awesome.
I would. That's a cat that I know. If Daisy were here, she'd be like, I want that cat. And then lastly, this is what happens when you have labs or other really messy dogs.
That's a cat.
They're so messy. I just love them so much. Love them. Okay, now we have a few thank yous to talk about from the weekend. This was over on PayPal. Craig Arnold said two things. SBC should have told TC. I don't even know what I'm seeing. SBC. Oh, Sam Bankman-Fried, I'm guessing is who he's talking about because we played a clip from. Yeah, he should have told Tucker Carlson Diddy's sell after 11 is banging. And you telling your son to drink. I saw your face and heard Sam Kinnison's voice screaming, drink it, drink it, drink it. Take my pennies. Have a great day. It's because we were talking last week about how a lot of kids in the Gen Z age group now are purposely, consciously deciding they're never going to drink. And it's an interesting thing. My son is one of them. Daisy's daughter is another. And it's not because we've been like, super scary about it. We've actually said, here, take a sip of wine so you know what the big hullabaloo is. And he just won't. Like our kids just won't.
I've never had a drink in my life.
Is that right?
I've never done a drug. I've never had a drink. I've never had a smoke. I am a teetotaler.
I have never smoked a cigarette and I've never done a drug. But that's super interesting. You've never had a drink even. Tell me about that decision process.
I grew up, my dad was an addict. My mom was an alcoholic. And I was like, I'm never doing any of this stuff. There's better things to do.
Wow.
Plus, I was obsessed with sports and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And that was where my obsession was.
Okay, that's so interesting. Good for you. We also heard from Donna Jones, who said regarding Jennifer, Jennifer is a woman who wrote last week saying that she had a stroke and was literally lying on the ground and finally was able to get to her phone opened it up, and it literally happened to be on the video of me having a stroke like 3 years ago. And she watched it and didn't know why she was on the ground or what was happening to her, but she was able to get to the bathroom and saw that one side of her face was drooping, and credits seeing that video with knowing the signs to look for. And so just super emotional email that we read last week. And Donna sent us a Venmo saying, regarding Jennifer, isn't it wonderful when God uses you as a vehicle in someone's life? It's the best feeling ever. Prayers for Jennifer and love you both. Thank you, Donna. And from Diana Logsden, she said, I totally agree with you regarding the time change. Just pick one and stay there. Thanks for all the news and the laughs. That's the thing I was saying last week. I don't even care if we stick with daylight saving, if we stick with standard. I don't care. I just want to stop changing the dang clocks. You know what I mean?
Amen.
That's all I care about. Elizabeth DeRusso just now said, loving the show. Thanks. Osuki over on Local says the only reason liberals call for someone else to murder Trump and Musk is because they don't have the balls to do it themselves. It's the so-called toxic masculinity that does the work. So isn't that a bit hypocritical?
Oh, 100%.
Mm-hmm. Stevie J says Trump proposes a 25% tariff and Canada goes crazy. China puts 100% tariff on Canada over the weekend and Canada says nothing.
Nope.
Interesting. Wendy says all of this should bring them to the table. It's for free trade. To quote the legendary Billie Jean, fair is fair. Chris says, what can the current administration do about voter ID in the states for federal elections? I don't know that there is a whole lot that they can do because it's a state issue, how they manage their own elections. So I don't know. Do you think that there's something that can happen at a federal level?
No, I don't think so. Not at a federal level. That's why we have elections the way we have them.
Right. Exactly. And Robin Dye says, I refuse the photo at TSA checkpoint. It's legal. Okay. Interesting.
Really?
Thank you very much, everybody. And thank you, Chad, for participating, for hosting. You're going to be with me all week. How can people find you outside of this show?
At Chad Benson Show on the Twitter and the Instagram, and Chad Benson Show TV on YouTube. Go there, like, and subscribe. Appreciate it when you do that.
Yay. Thank you, Chad. And thanks, everybody. And we will talk to you tomorrow.
Bye.
Hello, beautiful people. This is the Chicks on the Right's Indian correspondent. Thank you for watching or listening. Be very sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to stay up to date on all of their delicious content. Okay, thank you. Come again.